Welcome back. I missed you. As always, I missed you. And tonight I'm excited to dive into Vanderpump Rules Episode 4. So we're going to do a watch-along. I'm going to record the entire thing. And every time I have an urge to yell at Tom or Sheena or the other Tom or James or any of the characters, you'll hear what I think. Let's get into it.
My conversation with Sandoval last night could not have been more frustrating. He is taking no accountability for anything that he's done. So Lisa saying he's depressed, you know what? I haven't seen that. I've just seen him project.
I have so many thoughts about Sheena, so I'm just going to go in order here. So the first thing is, I just don't think this has anything to do with her. Last season, she tried to make it about her, but it really wasn't. She got in a fight with Raquel. There was a restraining order, but really not her thing to be upset about. Then she's sitting here, she spends all the time after last season talking shit about Tom, and then she's outraged that Tom wants to ignore her and block her. While Tom's grieving, Sheena's again making it about her. Instead of just saying, let the man grieve, she's pushing her way in and saying, this is really about me, and how dare him not want me to comfort him. I want to give you a hug. How come you won't let me give you a hug? Which is a ridiculous position. And the third one is, for Sheena, the person, as far as I'm concerned, that seems to have the most sort of, at least overt struggle with mental health issues, anxiety, postpartum OCD. The fact that she thinks that she can look at Tom, who, by the way, she hasn't talked to, right? She's been blocked on Instagram, so I don't know how she knows what's happening with him, but she is certain that he's not experiencing any kind of psychological distress. And then the last thing is her use of the word projection. I'm not sure what she's intending to mean by that, but projection is a defense mechanism. Essentially, if I have an emotion that I am uncomfortable with, instead of me dealing with that emotion, I will project it onto somebody else. So if I am sad, I will say, no, actually, you're sad. I can't deal with it, so I put it on somebody else. I just don't know what is he projecting onto somebody else? What emotion is he having that he's projecting outside? He's having, what is she thinking? Because he's saying, I'm depressed. She's thinking he's actually projecting happiness? Like, I just don't think she knows what she's talking about. Is my guess.
Doesn't know what he's doing.
No, he's actually doubling down, because what did he say about me last night?
He called her a narcissist. A narcissist is never going to admit they're a narcissist.
Yeah, I know. That's why Lala won't say she is.
Okay, I'm editing now, and I missed it. I think Sheena may have used projection correctly. She was saying that Sandoval is projecting his narcissism onto Lala. He's worried that he's a narcissist, and so instead of thinking about that, he's saying Lala is one. So I take it back. If that's what Sheena meant, I'll give it to her. I would say it's the correct use of the term. By the way, I do not think that Lala is a narcissist. I don't see the evidence for that. And I have a hard time believing that she had no idea about Randall. That just seems very unlikely to me. And then the clips that I've seen of her bragging about giving him a job and then getting a car as a result of it feels like she had some insight into what was happening with Randall.
I never thought suicide would touch my life. Let's just stop attacking him. None of us are perfect.
That was a hell of a turnaround, wasn't it? Lisa's a very influential person, and I imagine so is Bravo.
This thing?
This is a little tequila. I like the bottle.
Holy shit. Where'd you get that?
I've been on my semi-sober curious journey, but today I think I'm gonna have a few.
I wonder if they talk about being semi-sober curious in the big book.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Just look at these real quick.
Oh,
It's weed.
those are dangerous.
Yeah. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
James.
California sober.
James.
I feel like I have to say something here, but I'm cautious because everybody's journey with drugs and alcohol, and if you're dependent on them, it's different. My first reaction is that this idea of being California sober is ridiculous. And there are a lot of people that are able to sort of just avoid one drug. Alcohol's the problem, and you can go smoke weed and it's no big deal. That does exist, and I think there's a lot of people for whom that works. My struggle with what I would say, I guess what I'm reacting to, I think, when I watch James is it feels like he's super cavalier about it, which makes me feel like he doesn't think it's that big of a deal. I think he's trying on not drinking alcohol, and I don't know that he's totally made the decision that he's going to avoid. He's not being deliberate about avoiding alcohol in situations where he would drink. It doesn't feel like it's serious enough, and so just in my experience working with people, that always ends poorly. So I'm suspect at this point. Wish him the best, but
I do love Ariana.
I know you do.
But I'm not going to fawn for her affection or her validation. That was triggering. Sense that a little bit? I'm not.
Actually, I thought you handled yourself well last night. I mean,
Really?
of course, I was triggered when you talked about her ego.
have I complained enough on this channel about the overuse of the word triggered? They didn't like it. It was distressing, but I don't think either one of them was triggered. Triggered suggests, I feel like I've always yelled about this. The term triggered suggests that something happens that is so emotionally provocative for you that you are unable to control yourself. Now, if there are good reasons for people really to be triggered. And I feel like when we in society say, oh, I'm triggered, you are diminishing what it's like for someone who is really triggered. When somebody is really triggered, it's scary. It's exceptionally anxiety-provoking. It's distressing. They are truly out of control in that moment because of the triggering event. That's the whole point of triggered, is the bullet has left the chamber and nothing you can do about it. Schwartz was not triggered. He just didn't like it. It rubbed him the wrong way.
At some point in my life, I have to practice forgiveness. I cannot wear my trauma like a badge of honor anymore.
The way Lala said that, maybe for Lala she's triggered, right? If her reaction is a consequence of trauma with Randall, maybe her use of the word triggered is correct. But Schwartz, it's definitely not correct. Schwartz was not triggered. He just was annoyed by Ariana. Now, speaking about traumatic events, speaking about being taken advantage of, it's a good segue to the sponsor for today's video, Aura. Aura is an identity protection service, and while that may have felt like an extreme segue to our sponsor, the truth is you can be victimized online as well. If you Google your name, you will find tons of sources that have your address, your birth date, your place of work, all of this personal information. And when you look at it, you're going to be like, how the hell did these people get all of this data? Well, there are data brokers out there that make a fortune off of selling your information. And that's where Aura comes in. When I first signed up with Aura, they showed me, I think, 13 different places that had my information. And they asked me, hey, do you want to delete your information from this source? And the answer, of course, is yes. And all of a sudden, I stopped getting robocalls. I stopped getting sales emails. That data is no longer available. And in addition to removing data brokers, Aura also offers home title monitoring, credit monitoring, password management, a VPN, antivirus protection. I mean, it is a very robust suite of services. Now, in the past, I have used different services, different websites to help manage some of that stuff, but it was always difficult for me to track where different things were housed. It was very expensive, and I couldn't get my arms around it. With Aura, I'm comforted to know that I have a very comprehensive identity protection service supporting me. It's a robust program. It's very affordable. Everything is encrypted. I can totally trust it. In fact, I don't just use it, but my entire family uses it now. And we've all experienced a dramatic reduction in robocalls and all of that. We just feel much more secure. Now, here's the best part. Because you are a member of the PSYCH YouTube audience, Aura is offering you a free 14-day trial. All you have to do is click the link below or go to aura.com/PopPsych.
It's like we were just hanging out, having sex. Like, the hanging out was like the best part. I'm hoping that we can at least give whatever this is some sort of shot. Pretty much, I'm like saving myself for Raquel.
Somehow I don't think that Tom is saving himself for Raquel, or at least he won't save himself for very long.
I lost all of my friends, and I felt like maybe the best way to show that I'm sorry, and kind of I feel like what everybody wants, is for me to go away.
It's a hard one to react to because I don't want to undermine his feelings. You have to take him at his word. And it does feel like an odd way to describe it. You know, typically when someone's feeling like that, they are feeling like they are a burden on people. They are feeling like they can't live in their own skin any longer. They're in so much... You know, they're so hopeless about the future. There's such distress that's the decision that they make. When he says that the best way to show that he's sorry is to do this, or that's what he was thinking, the part of me also wonders, is that just him being provocative and maneuvering? Like, okay, you guys keep on asking for this, so let me talk about how I was going to do it. Let me demonstrate to you how bad that really would have been. Like, is this how I get my apology accepted? Which, by the way, side note, it has worked, right? He went to Lisa and he said, look, I'm in real pain here to the extent of hurting myself. I'm in pain. And Lisa said, all right, we're going to be kinder to you. Then Lisa went and talked to Sheena and Lala, and the tide will change, right? Like, so it was a little bit like he did have to escalate to that point for the rest of the cast to change their behavior. So, again, I don't want to undermine. If somebody says that they are thinking about suicide, you have to listen. And it's hard not to also be a little bit skeptical with Tom.
So Bay, right? I'm Butter Bay, baby. I'm Butter Bay up in here, baby.
Sometimes I think James is really funny, and then other times I think, if I was at a party and the host started saying, I'm Butter Bay, and started dripping butter all over the corn like that, I would think, I need to be at any other party than this guy's party. After he's jumped off the roof, DJ'd his own party, now he's being Butter Bay.
Maybe he has had some thoughts and some feelings, but like those thoughts and those feelings are based on a situation that he created. It just feels a little bit like annoying.
I can absolutely imagine feeling like that if I'm Ariana. Especially if you think he's just doing it to get himself out of trouble.
But this time I'm doing it for myself.
I was willing in that moment to do anything, like, you know, to get her back, and was like, I'm sorry, like,
He was willing to do anything to get her back. Isn't that the definition of doing it for her? Right?
Are you looking at it as a forever thing?
Yeah, I mean, it is forever. It is a forever thing. I mean, I don't quit unless I have that mentality in my head. Otherwise, I couldn't possibly do it.
So the average person that stops drinking, they're not going to tell you, oh, yeah, no big deal. I'm not going to ever drink again for the rest of my life. What they'll tell you is, I hope not. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to focus on today or tomorrow. They're not as confident as he is, which makes me feel like he's not as concerned as he should be if he's really trying to make that kind of change.
Good neutral ground might be a good opportunity for you to have some good one-on-ones with people. Maybe you leave your ego here.
Maybe you leave your ego here.
Lala and Sheena showed the entire nation how to treat us.
Sandoval's always given me a narcissistic vibe.
It is making me question the last 13 years of friendship with Sandoval.
This energy's not going to serve you well.
I hate to say it, but I agree with Sandoval. Those two, Sheena and Lala, did absolutely profit off of all of the drama last season. And if I were him, I absolutely would be outraged by it. And I don't think that it's wrong for him to say, I'm outraged by the way that you guys profited off of all of that drama. You guys drug my name through the mud and made a shit ton of money off of me. And now, at least in Sheena's case, and now you're mad at me that I won't take you back with open arms. You took advantage of the situation to profit. To me, that's not, him saying that is fair, and I don't think it's what people have a problem with. What people have a problem with is when Tom then stops short of apologizing for his own egregious behavior, right? That's the miss. He's slow to apologize for the affair, and he's also, I think, inconsistent in how he talks about his frustrations. Like, he'll sort of come forward and he'll say, woe is me, I'm doing poorly and you guys are all not being nice to me, which is in neither one of these camps. He's not being honest with how he feels. What he feels is angry at this group, for what taking advantage of him, and should be ashamed of himself for the behavior with Raquel, right? And so to me, it's like, I think it's okay if he does both of those things. What he shouldn't do is walk in and act like he doesn't get it, right? That's the mistake he keeps making, is he acts like he doesn't really understand anything, and it's just, woe is me.
Just feel really uneasy being around him, just seeing the way that he hurt James, and I don't want to have to like fake be nice and be like, good to see you.
I can't even feign interest in her like emotional experience with Tom. She doesn't give a shit about Tom. This is like this part of the show where we all sort of act like we're really distressed. There's no way Allie has any kind of emotion at all. She's just doing whatever James is doing and whatever Ariana is doing and whatever Lala's doing. She's just following.
Is that Graham?
Yeah.
Graham! What?
All right, a sweet ending. James a little bit over the top as usual, but a sweet ending nonetheless. I thought globally, it was a boring episode. Not a lot happened. I mean, I think it's clear that they are trying to build the narrative here or create a storyline where Tom is able to re-enter the group. And so all of this sort of goes to serve that. So not that exciting. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, please hit the like button. It's a requirement for the YouTube algorithm. It means a lot. Thank you so much for listening.